Farm transition is a huge concern right now in agriculture. We want to be able to find those professionals that really understand. And when we engaged with them, they were like, farmers are so hard because the business and the heart is so involved and intertwined. So a lot of them said, we need mental health support, and we need mental health support for our staff because it is such an emotional process to work with a family farm to get them through those transitions.
Welcome to the WnEH podcast. This show is focused on empowering ranchers. Whether you're a seasoned rancher or just getting started, we'll guide you on how to use the infinite banking concept as an alternative way to finance your operations. It's a better way to think about money. Join us as we discuss planning for the future, attracting the next generation, and the art of keeping more money within the family. Here's your hosts, Winnie and Lacy.
Welcome, Linda.
Thanks.
You're here with Lacy and myself, Winnie, and we're with Rancher Way. And thank you. We're actually at the Soil and Health Grazing Conference.
Yes, in Edmonton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as I was passing by, I noticed AgKnow right away because we were just literally at the Porch Light event early November. And what a great thing to raise money for. Maybe just like a quick summation as to what AgKnow is in case people don't know what it is.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So AgKnow is the Alberta Farm Mental Health Network. We are funded by government grants and industry investment. We have a farm informed counseling network, and whenever we can get the money together, we have free sessions, and that's open right now. We also create resources that are aligned with what the farmers are asking for when they engage with our network and have those available online. So research and just being a farmer, the best or the way we like to get our information is from a farm-informed professional, like our ag accountant or whatever. So farm-informed therapist is really important. The second thing we like is we like peer-to-peer. So we've taken a peer-to-peer approach with all of our trainings and our in-community events and that sort of thing. And then the third way that farmers like to get their information is self-directed, because our time schedule never fits with everybody else's and the weather is a dictate, right? So having those resources available, we have a self-check-in tool on our website that is totally anonymous. You can go check in and have some idea about where you are with your mental health and whether or not you want to reach out for some more support. So we work with industry and government to deliver that and to understand what the needs of farmers are, why they're unique, and then we want to encourage our health and mental health practitioners in the province to learn about farmers and be a better resource and support for them based on what they need, and they're aligned with them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so great because I'm married to a rancher, live on a ranch, and you really just don't, we don't just go to work 9 to 5 and have that set schedule, right? So you really don't ever know what the day may bring. And then it's a stressful industry to be in. And so having those resources or a place where they can find those resources with the click of a button, maybe when they sit down after supper or before or early in the morning. I know a lot of farmers and ranchers are online early in the morning before they head out the door. And so if there's a place where they can go and just hey, quick click of a button, they get what they need, or they're at least directed into some sort of way. I think it's amazing, the work that you guys are doing, and it's really needed and appreciated.
Yeah, we hear that a lot from the farmers that connect with us directly through the network. And even the service providers we've been connected to, we have healthcare foundations that work in rural areas that have contacted us and how can we help and make sure that your counseling sessions are available to the farmers in our area. So when you get outside of those larger, the government calls them rural settings. We call them urban. But when you get outside of those larger communities, it is harder and harder to get those resources. And so we want to make sure everything's available online and as much as we can, people in person too. So we're combing the industry and looking for mental health professionals that have the right qualifications and are licensed and safe people that have lived farm experience and that they operate in rural communities. And by rural, we mean outside of the Highway 2 corridor, outside of that. So we've done 2 recruitments and we have a network of, I don't know how many is on there right now, 10 or so therapists that are ready and able. And some of them are just amazing. Like this is their second career is counseling. Their first career was ag lending, right? Or they were ranchers before. Some of them are currently farming and have that's part of their business risk management is to have this on-farm business around mental health and therapy. So like there's just some really cool people that really understand farming that you can reach out for support.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. And I think it also, we kind of model that same or have that same business model where we are catering to farmers and ranchers, and we understand their hectic schedule and the need to just get things done sometimes, right? And so, yeah, I think it's awesome that there's something tailored to those farmers and ranchers.
If we haven't mentioned it already, I mean, this is a nonprofit organization. So, I mean, this is a really great opportunity. Like I know for myself, as I was having a conversation with you, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have the help of being able to talk to someone, right? And get those skills to learn how to cope, you know, especially for all the work that Lacy and I do. I mean, there's not, it just naturally happens, but it almost feels like a bit of a confessional or like a counseling session in a way that does happen, you know, and finances is one of those things that really ultimately do impact one's mental health, especially, I mean, with the egg industry, although, I didn't grow up in the egg industry, but man, I have never had so many conversations where there is so much, there's just like an undetermined amount of risk that you guys all face all the time.
And it's interesting, like we are connecting to ag business professionals as well, because, I mean, obviously we don't want to leave people hanging, right? So if financial or planning is a problem, farm transition is a huge concern right now in agriculture. We want to be able to find those professionals that really understand. And when we engaged with them, they were like, farmers are so hard because the business and the heart is so involved and intertwined. So a lot of them said, we need mental health support, and we need mental health support for our staff because it is such an emotional process to work with a family farm to get them through those transitions. And a lot of them say that they're not being successful. Like they have the conversations, but it's stopping. And the thing that's stopping them is the feelings side of things. So then when we talked to our farm-informed therapists and asked them, like, what are you seeing? They said the same thing. They're like, we are seeing these families, they're coming to us because they have all these heart things to deal with, but they're not dealing with the facts. And she's like, and I don't know, we need someone that can deal with the facts. We need the heart and the facts to be together. And that's when we're going to see some actual progress. So we brought the two groups together and asked them, like, how can we do this? Like, what's a collaborative model? And so their suggestion and what they came up all by themselves was using kind of a community of practice approach where we do case studies of common themes that we're seeing in that farm transition space and have multidisciplinary team discussing them and working through that and broadcast it so everybody can learn from it, right? And so that's one of the goals in AgKnow is to have those events and then connect those ag business people with the ag therapist people so that the farmer gets that full ability to get to both sides and get that full care, right?
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
Is this just for is this for all Canadians?
Well, all the learning is we like to broadcast things in our webinars and that sort of stuff is anybody can register and be a part of that. The counseling sessions are for Alberta farmers because they are funded by Alberta farmers and by Alberta initiatives. So that's for Alberta. But the learnings that are coming out of this and the knowledge we're sharing with the other farm mental health initiatives that are going across Canada because we want to make sure that as much of the information that we're finding and whatever we can do to support farmers everywhere. And I know like Saskatchewan, the farmers in Saskatchewan are very similar. The way we deliver agriculture, the types of farms that we have, that sort of thing. And that challenge of being spread over such a large landscape. So there's a lot of the similar challenges between the two. So we want to make sure that they also have access to some of the stuff. So everything that we do, we kind of try to leave it as open as possible for anybody to look at. But the counseling sessions are right now, just for Alberta.
Just for Alberta.
Yep.
So if I understood correctly, then anybody living in other provinces could access the learnings, but not the counseling sessions. But is there a resource directory? Like, is there anything like it for Saskatchewan?
There's nothing like it in Canada. We're pretty unique.
Awesome.
But there are counseling programs across Canada that are catering to farmers. So BC AgSafe has a counseling program for farmers, and they have farm-informed therapists there, and you can access free sessions through BC AgSafe. In Saskatchewan, it was matters.ca, and I don't know where they're at. They were coming to the end of some funding, so I'm not sure where they're at, but they had funding for farm-informed counseling, and there are some really amazing counselors that are from the farm and ranch community. Cynthia Beck, right? Like there's some really good people there, and so some really awesome knowledge. And then in Manitoba, it's the Manitoba Wellness Program, and then Ontario has the Farmer Wellness Program. Quebec has some French ones that I don't know how to say yet. And then there's Nova Scotia has a program, New Brunswick has a program, and PEI has had a program for the last 20 years. So not all of them have free session therapists, but they're all working towards that. So there's stuff happening, right? And a lot of it is like we need to discover, and then we have to develop the response, and then we have to do the delivery. And so we're sort of doing as much of each thing that we can every time, right? So there's some really good discovery pieces that are coming out in research and just what we're learning through our industry engagements and stuff that I think are going to be, you're going to see more development over the next little while. And
Yeah, I think it's so incredible that you bring in that aspect of business professionals too, because Winnie and I say it all the time. We firmly believe that our financial health is related to our mental health. And so the stress of finances can wreak havoc on our mental health. And so it's so just incredibly great that you guys are bringing those two things, mental health, but then the business professional side of it too, because they go hand in hand. And when we look after our financial health, it can improve our mental health and have that aspect there too. So I love it.
Yep. It's very few of us that get 8 hours straight every single night. I'm sure there's lots of people that have lost sleep over finances, but I don't know what exactly drives you, Linda, in terms of why you stepped up to lead this.
Well, I'm an agrologist, and I work with forage and livestock systems. And so I'm from a 4-generation farm that had addictions and stuff in my family. And then my close family, we had lived experience, I guess we should say, trying to support a key member of our family through an addiction. And accessing those services in rural Alberta has been a huge challenge. And financially, it was like, if you could pay, there was a response. And if you couldn't pay, there was no response. And we found that there was no supports for a family approach. And like I think most farm families, it's a family approach that is needed and will be the most useful. And so for that reason, I also do a lot of advocacy. I'm a community advocate. I love rural development. I love being involved in volunteering. And I've done some work with our local family community support services, helping people access services and, do those kinds of things. So I kind of have this passion for supporting my community and all the rural communities by extension. And so when the opportunity came to work on this project and find out what would be a good approach for farm mental health, that was the first step. So needs assessment and reaching out across the country to see what they're doing in other places, that sort of thing, bringing that all together and then having some really concrete recommendations for the minister and have them turn around and support that was pretty rewarding work. And so just to continue with that.
Yeah, I think it's so great that we're all here at the Soil Health and Grazing, and the conversations that we have been having is just surrounding helping people and like helping the agriculture industry and the people that are the stewards of the land and the livestock. And so it's been a wonderful first day here. Well, I know that we are glad to know you and know about the AgKnow program. And we first met you at the Porchlight Society, the first gala. So yeah, we're excited.
We're going to do all the links in our show notes. And so please support AgKnow in any way that you can. And thank you for having such a huge heart in doing this, because
Very rewarding.
Yeah.
It's really hard, but very rewarding.
Well, that's why you do it, but it comes from the heart, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely. And if you are someone who needs that resource, please check out AgKnow, click of a button, and you can find the help that you need.
So glad you leaned in with us on the WnEH podcast. We truly hope you're feeling more informed and empowered to take another step towards optimizing your financial life. Right now, make sure you hit subscribe so you can keep growing and learning with us. Until next time, we wish you prosperity in every area of your life.